Hey, what's up, y'all? So I'm back with my second to last video of the year, hopefully. And this is like been a highly requested video. So I've mentioned like more than 1,000 times how I was on a journey to read 24 books for the year 2017. And I don't think I've ever read that many books in a year, completed that many books in a year. So it was like something that I just was like gung-ho about doing. And y'all, I did it. So go ahead, stop hating, don't be mad, step your reading game up. No, I'm just playing. But I don't know, because going into next year, at first I set a goal to read 40 books because I was like, oh, I'm going to try to do way more than what I did. But honestly, when I read that goal, I laughed at myself like, girl, you're tripping, because the 24 books wasn't hard to do, but it wasn't like, I feel like I got the information, like I got what I needed and all of that, but I feel like I could have retained that information a little bit more if I wasn't just pushing to read 24 books. So let's stop and get into my retwist real quick, y'all. My hair looks good, all right? Okay, yeah, I just retwisted it the day before yesterday, 2 days ago. But anyway, and my little top spiky pineapple ponytail thing, when I get to the point that I can wear a real ponytail, y'all are not gonna be able to tell me nothing. So just be ready for it, because that's all I'm probably gonna do once I reach that status. But that's not what this video is about. We're talking about the books that I read, and I asked Instagram, do you guys want to want for me to do a video about all the books that I read? And all of the people said yes, except for one person. And I was like, that one person probably doesn't even read, and they probably talk like they don't read. So yes, I'm throwing shade, but I'm just like, who would say no to something like that? Like, who? It was just one person, but I'm not gonna let that one person spoil it for the rest of the people who said yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the books that I read. Before I do so, let me please remind you to check out allthingschris.com. Check out all my merch, my shirts, my hats, and my books, and support me. Also, if you're not following me across all social media platforms, specifically Instagram and Twitter, follow me at allthingschris. And I mean, I'm really funny and I'm real cool, and I'm gonna talk back if you talk to me. So let's get to it. I got all the books like right here in a little stack, looking weird. They're in no particular order, and some of the books are not in the stack, because two of them I read on like my phone, the Kindle app, and one of the other ones I let my niece borrow. And Shakia, if you're watching this, I want my book back, because you know I'm trying to have an in-home library. So go ahead and run me my book, and we won't have to have a problem. Otherwise, I'm just gonna send you an invoice for it, okay? But okay, so the first book I read, I'm gonna just go ahead and be real with y'all, real transparent. I had the hardest year that I have ever had in my life. Like when I had my daughter back in 2012, okay, I was prepared for that. Like I just was like, oh, okay, I'm having a baby. I'm only 22, but I'm having a baby. Boop, I did it. But this year, y'all, like you see, I have some edges or whatever, but this year just snatched all my edges, y'all, and left me for dead in the middle of the road, and you know, whatever. So I got real spiritual, and I started the spiritual in the spiritual way that I was most accustomed to. Okay, and since then I have evolved again, and I'm going to continue to evolve. But I got super spiritual and went back to what I knew. So I got really spiritual, went back to church and all that stuff. So the Prayer of Jabez, can y'all see that? Yes, the Prayer of Jabez was one of the first books I read. So even though I have my own book club, I joined another book club which kind of just focuses on spirituality or Christianity, let's say that. And so this was a really good book because it's all about prayer. So if you're not familiar, motherhood, isn't that cute? I may not even edit that out because that's going to take more effort than what I want to apply. But if you're not familiar with the Prayer of Jabez, all this natural lighting, I mean, it's doing great for me, but it's not good for my books. The Prayer of Jabez story, if you're not familiar, it is it's a prayer that's really short, and it's like almost hidden in the Bible. And it's a very simple prayer that goes y'all, I don't even remember the prayer. I don't care about the saints trying to judge me because I ain't going to hell no way. So it don't matter. But it's like, I know the song. They have a song called Prayer of Jabez. And I know the song because we sang it when I was in the church back in the day. Oh, here it is. And it says, and Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, oh, that you will bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, and your hand will be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. So God granted him and what he requested. So the book actually breaks down that whole entire, well, that small prayer, and it dissects it, and it kind of teaches you to apply to your life. And then it challenges you to, I think, say the prayer for like 30 days or something like that, and whatever. So it's a real good book, you know, if you haven't checked it out. Really small. You saw how small it was. I think it's like 100 pages or so. So that's that. The next book is, y'all, The Cook-Up. So let the camera focus on that. The Cook-Up by D. Watkins. Yo, his book was so good that I don't know why I said yo, like I'm not from Houston. What the hell? That was so fake. But his book was so good that I think I read it in a matter of days, and it was just like a page turner. It is a memoir, and if you're not familiar with D. Watkins, that's him on the back cover. I call him Sophista Bay because he's like the dude that, you know, is like the reformed street dude, so to say. But he really wasn't a street dude because he was the good dude that just had street circumstances. So he just like took advantage of that. Like he you need to read his story, because if I tell y'all, you can be like, what? But just so you can know, D. Watkins is now a professor in Baltimore at a college. I'm not sure what college, but he's a professor. And he's an author. This is actually his second book, and he's getting ready to release his third book as well. I just bought his first one last week, which I haven't read yet, but it'll be on my list for 2018. But he was actually, you know, he grew up, you know, in Baltimore. I think he's gonna live and die in Baltimore. And he lost his older brother to gun violence, if I'm not mistaken. And his brother was a drug dealer as well. And so when his brother died, he fell into the game basically, and so he started selling drugs himself. He went to college, dropped out, and then he went back, of course, and finished, and that's how he is a professor today. So his story is really amazing. He's very transparent. I love him, and I love his book. So that's that. Okay. The next book is the TV Writer's Workbook. So that's that. If you don't know much about me, I am a writer. I actually am a published author. I'm writing my third book now, and I'm getting ready to release a whole nother body of work as well that is not in alignment with my first, my original, I guess, like scope of work. So the TV Writer's Workbook, I want to get into TV and film. And I did not go to school for TV and film. Like, I was a mass communications major, so I learned journalism, public relations, all that kind of stuff. But I never really learned how to write for TV and film. So this book is very good if you're interested in that. And it's funny because, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I do not be dropping gems because I like to just know things that everybody doesn't know. But I want to share that. So if you're a writer, leave me a comment below. Like, let's talk about it. I want to know what you're working on, and if there's a way that I can help you or we can be a benefit to each other, let's share. But that's a great book. The next one is called Moon Matter, Words from Women by Erin. This is my sis that I met on the internet. She is such a great soul. Like, I don't know, it's just, you know, some people they just like, goodness just permeates like all throughout them. You could just get this good vibe from them. She's one of those people. She's a mom as well, and the book is an easy read as well. I don't even think this one is 100 pages. No, it's not. It's like 93 pages, and there's photos, and it's like a book of prose, poetry, thoughts, and all that. So it's really good, an easy read. I wanted to support her, and I bought the book along with a shirt from her website. So the link will be down below if you'd like to support her. And this is, I think, her second book as well. So check her out. This one, y'all, In the Meantime by Iyanla Vanzant. Ooh. So this one was really good because, first of all, the subtitle is Finding Yourself in the Love You Want. Now, let me be clear. I'm not looking for no love that I want, and I'm not on a quest to find myself, because as I mentioned in my previous video, I don't think that you have to find yourself. I think that who you are is already there. You just need to accept that and roll with it. And it takes us a while to accept who we really are. We don't need to find ourselves though. But anyway, the title alone got me, and I love Auntie Ayana. And the book was only, I get my books from like thrift stores as well as like Amazon, and so this book was actually on clearance for $3, y'all. $3. Can you see that? Boom. And so $3 caught my eye. Ayana Bazan's name caught my eye, so I bought the book. And when I tell y'all that this book was like, I don't want to say it was life-changing, it was like the second life-changing book that I think I read this year, because one of them I read earlier in the year, and then the themes that were present in that book were kind of also present in this book. And what I love about Ayana Bazan is she always holds us accountable for our own shit. Like, she makes you look at yourself and not play the victim role and blah blah blah. So this is really good when it comes down to self-love and relationships and figuring out your mess. Like, if you have gone through relationship after relationship and nothing has gone right, and you constantly want to blame the other person, not saying that that was me, because that's not me. I now, thank God, look at myself, and I realize the thing, like, every time you're in a relationship, you are an exact mirror of that person. You attract, like attracts like, and I believe that so much. And you may not see it like when you're fresh in the relationship or fresh out of the relationship, but in hindsight, if you allow yourself to, you'll see it. So this book is like full of wisdom and gems and exercises for you to actually do to get to a place where you are ready to receive the love that you deserve and desire. So I mean, like I said, I'm not the expert in relationships. I don't really care about that kind of stuff that much. I just, be chilling. But this is a really good book, kid you not. If you're a sister girl, even if you're a man, you need to read this in its entirety. And look how thick it is. I think this book was like 300 and something pages. Yeah, not that it's a lot, but people be saying they don't have time, but make time, sis. Okay, the next book is The 4 Agreements. The 4 Agreements has been very, very popular. Oprah talks about this book. It has a sticker on the front. It was featured on Super Soul Sunday. So I guess if mother says that it's a good book, it's a good book. But there are basically 4 agreements that we all should, I guess, make. And I'll tell you, spoiler alert. If you don't want the spoiler, then skip on. But the first agreement is to be impeccable with your words. It's like watching what you say. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. So that's owning your own shit and not taking stuff personally. Like, everything that has nothing to do with you. And people who make every situation be about themselves, that is a direct reflection of like your insecurities and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna keep going into that. The third agreement is don't make any assumptions. And like, I don't know if y'all ever heard that little that little quote that's like, don't assume anything, otherwise you make an ass out of yourself. Like, assume, get it? But yeah, don't make assumptions. And the fourth thing is to always do your best. The fourth agreement is always do your best. And it's so funny that I'm reading that now, because I may need to go back and read that chapter, because I think that's gonna be like my theme for 2018, is to do my best work, like in everything I do. So anyway, the 4 Agreements is really good. Another small read, but very, very, very good and full of gems. The next one is Girl Boss. Now, that's that, by Sophia Amoruso. I wasn't impressed with Girl Boss, and I picked it up and put it down 3 times, and I made myself finish it, because one, I was trying to finish reading 24 books, and 2, because everybody else, all the girls I know, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever, have this book in every freaking flat lay on Instagram. So you would swear that this was a good book, so I bought it. But y'all, this book was like intro into entrepreneurship and get your shit together, intro level. And so as someone who has been in business for themselves ever since I was like, 20 years old, 19 or 20, something like that. Really before that, if you read my book. But none of what she said was like, oh yeah, it wasn't holy grail. It was like shit I already knew. So if you, but everybody's not where I am in life. So if you want to get your shit together advice, and she told a lot of her personal story as well. So if you want to hear her story, I mean, whatever. But I wasn't impressed. Moving on. Love, Freedom, and Aloneness by Osho. This book, y'all, dragged me. Okay? Love, Freedom, and Aloneness kind of like disrupts everything that you learned in your life all the way up to like adulthood. It makes you reconsider everything. It makes you reconsider what you know to be love. It makes you think about religion. Like, he goes against the grain for real. So if you're somebody who's going to be butthurt behind him saying, you know, certain things about religion, then don't read it, because you're going to find bias. You're going to be biased anyway. But if you can move that off, if you can take that lens off, your Christianity lens or your whatever other lens, I should say whatever, but your Christianity lens, your Muslim lens, your Buddhist lens, your what else, your racist lens, any lens that you may have blinding you, if you can take that off and just read the book for what it is, you can really gain from it. Because I had a partner to tell me that in some ways that I love, I was selfish. And when he said that, I didn't really disagree with him, but I didn't like it either. But when I read this book, it was like everything that person said to me in that relationship was in this book. And I wanted to reach out to him and be like, look, did you read this book and try to come to me or something before I even read this book? Because you got all the keys and I didn't even know. But that's why, like, if you really take a second and take things for what they are and notice like that everything again is not about you, and look for the lesson in the breakup or the situation or whatever, the loss, if there is a loss, because we know every breakup is not a loss, you really can learn something. So Love, Freedom, and Aloneness is like, even my theme song for 2017 was Holy by girl, why I can't think of my girl's name? Holy, y'all know the song. I'll tell y'all her name, Jamila. I can't remember her last name though. Anyways, that song, the lyrics were like something about I'm not lonely, I'm alone, and I'm holy on my own. And that whole little part right there just sent me into a Kojic shout, because girl, I'm not lonely, I'm alone. Like, just because I'm alone doesn't mean I am lonely. And people don't get that. They confuse the two. They feel like they always gotta have company. They always gotta be with somebody. I personally enjoy solitude. And I like quiet, but you know, whatever. But y'all, I mean, I can go on and on. If you don't get none of these books I'm talking about, get this one for real. And he has a host of other books too. But like I said, if you're gonna be biased, girl, don't even worry about it. Oh, this one. So again, going back to, this was one of the ones I read when I was in that Christianity book club, Defeating Your Adversary in the Court of Heaven, by the Praying Medic. That's this one. This book is all of what, 80 pages, if that. Let me see. No, try 50, 51. That's how little this one is. But it's I would say, if you're have to think about it before I say what I'm gonna say. I would say, I mean, if you're super spiritual, get the book. If not, don't worry about it. If you're spiritual in the essence of believing in prayer, heaven and hell and all that kind of stuff, then hey. If you're not, then you're gonna just be like, child, whatever. But it's about the things that you do in life. You have to account for those things, basically. So you go into the court. There's different courts, I believe, but you go into the court of heaven, and you know, ask for your scrolls to be read and all this kind of stuff. And you look at all the stuff that you've done, like, and you ask for forgiveness. I guess it's a whole system too with this one. So, you know, if you want to pray the sins away, ask for forgiveness, and unblock your blessings, then that's what that is about. Yeah. Spiritual Slavery to Spiritual Sonship. This is another one from the book club that I was in by Jack Frost. Now, I will say, even though this one is also biblical, I will say that this one is a really good one because it talks about relationships. So, you know, spiritual slavery to spiritual sonship, being a son or daughter of God, or whomever you believe in or whatever, if you believe the universe is on your side, believing that the universe is on your side is a relationship that you have with the universe. Just like believing that you are a son or daughter of God is a relationship that you have with God. And so this book really looks at relationship and how you view things and how those views and thoughts and beliefs shape your reality. And it really, the author Jack Frost gives his personal accounts of things that have happened to him and how those things relate to being a son of God. And he relates he relates his relationship with his earthly father to his relationship with Father God in heaven. So that's kind of what that's about. It's a very good book though. It goes through and it talks about forgiveness. It talks about emotion, greed, ego. It talks about all that stuff. So if you again are not very spiritual in this respect, don't negate the gems just because you don't subscribe to that religion. Still go for it and kind of just omit that part and take what works for you. Like they say, eat the meat, spit out the bones. That's what I would say. But it's a really good book overall. Destiny, Stepping into Your Purpose by T.D. Jakes. So I have a friend and she sent me this book and I just never read it, so I finally did and I loved the book. It was full of gems as well. First of all, who doesn't know the Bishop? Like, right? Everybody is in tune with the Bishop and they watch him, whether they say they believe or not. Everybody gets a word from the Bishop here and there. So knowing who he is and how powerful of a messenger he is, the book is good. I may revisit this book because honestly I don't remember much from it, but I know I remember it being a good book. And as I'm looking through it and looking at everything I underlined and the pages that I put sticky notes on, I'm sure it has a lot of good gems. So Destiny by T.D. Jakes was another one of the books. I have a sticker on here to remind me of the ones that I did not have and I don't have. But Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. This one is really good because this is by Dennis Kimbro and he also and Napoleon Hill. So we know Think and Grow Rich, the original is by Napoleon Hill, but this one is actually like I said, for black people. Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. So this one is written for the black community. Now I also own Think and Grow Rich, the original by Napoleon Hill, and I have not read that one. I read this one first, but I may go ahead and read that one this year just so that I can compare them. But this one was really good because it's one of those books that you can pick up and just turn to any page and get something, right? So it's like it tells stories about people in all times of the world except like maybe biblical times, but it talks about like people during like segregation, slavery, different eras and so forth and so on. And it talks about the things that they had to overcome in order to succeed. And these people succeeded in spite of it all. And you think about that and you're like, here I am with the freaking internet. Like they didn't have all of that back then. People had to walk for miles to get to work and for miles to look for work and for miles to pick up their children and to go to church. People had to get it. Here we are with the luxury of cars and buses and taxis and Uber and Lyft and all of that, and we want to sit on our ass. Like, this book puts a lot of things into perspective. Like, y'all, do not sleep on this one. This is another one, especially if you, anybody can read it, but especially my people of color. Get this book. It is such a good book and full of wisdom. It's just straight across the board. I don't know what else to say. The next two are by Alex L. I have Words from a Wanderer. So this one is a book of affirmations, which I really love. And then I have Love in My Language, which is also okay, there we go, also written by her. So both of these books I read at the top of the year when I was going through my hell, and When I tell you sis made me cry, she made me cry. I may reread these as well because they're very easy to get through. And I can't believe I folded my pages. Oh my God. But I folded so many of these pages because they were so good. Alex is a phenomenal person, and I mean, I don't know her as a person, but she's a phenomenal writer, and I respect her so much. And she's a black woman, and she's not, you know, she's not like this big, huge celebrity. I mean, a lot of people know her. She has a lot of followers and all that kind of stuff, but she's still, I consider her to still be a small female-owned business. So support her because this is how she pays her bills. So, definitely check out her books. She has a new book called Neon Soul, and she also has a journal. And I want to purchase both of those for the coming year because I do want to do. She has journaling prompts in the journal, and she also posts journaling prompts on her social media pages, which are really, really good. Because she just, I don't know, it's like she's like an old woman in a young woman's body. Like, I just love her. She's full of wisdom, and she's so gentle, and I love her. But I want to collect all of her books because I just feel like I should. So I'm missing one of my books, y'all. I'm gonna have to get it. But anyways, okay, so Luxurious Credit, the ultimate credit repair guide to having luxurious credit. So another, I'm trying to get it to focus here. Okay, there we go. This one is by Arnita Johnson is her name. I follow her on Instagram, and unfortunately myself, like many other people, I'm not going to say black, but just people, we don't understand the importance. We don't have financial conversations. That's what I'll say. So we don't understand the importance of our credit scores and things like that until we need them. And so if you're somebody who is like in college or something and watching this, get this book right now. And the other book that I'm going to mention later is another financial book that I read. Get both of them and start, if you weren't taught good financial habits, start teaching yourself, because that is not an excuse to go through life and just be like, fuck it, I don't need credit. You do. You live in America, you need your credit to be on point. Like all this living off the grid shit and I'm going to just do this and pay cash for this. Most people, the nice shit that you all really want, you have to have your credit on point. So, I mean, and especially when extreme circumstances happen. Like, okay, we may, I'm not going to preach, but this one is really good to help. It literally focuses on credit. So if you need to build credit or rebuild your credit, establish credit, this is a good book to do so. And what I also love is that it's like a how-to guide, so you can do it yourself when you purchase the book. But what I love is that if you are not able to do it, or you just get tired of it or whatever, you can apply for her program and she'll work with you. She will take off the cost of the book off of the price of her service. So I think that's a really great, she didn't have to do that. So I think that's really dope of her to do. And not to mention her story, like, girl, sister has been through it. She was a young mother. She, of course, had messed up credit, was living in the hood. She was in an abusive relationship. She just went through it all. And she's overcome that. And I don't know how much money she makes, but clearly, if she's not making a lot of money, she damn sure got some good credit. Because honey's, her highlight reel is on point. And I don't think that she just only posts her highlight reel, but she's on it. She's on it, and I can admire it. And she's a black sister, so... You know, I'm going to just always be a little biased and support my sisters because not enough of us too. Okay. So, another book I read was No Excuses by Brian Tracy. Get into it. So, No Excuses was really good. In the respect that the book itself is about discipline. Again, if you did not grow up in a household where people actually made you stick to shit, or you didn't have like chores that kind of later developed into a job, that kind, you didn't have that structure, you have to teach that shit to yourself. You can't just go through life and be like, oh, I didn't know this growing up, so I just suck at this. Fuck that. You're gonna have to freaking teach yourself. So No Excuses is all about discipline, and it helps you to really think about your life, where you are, where you're going, what you want, what you have at your disposal, and how you can really just change your life like that. Like, everybody has a gift, and we oftentimes either minimize that because we don't feel like we can use it or like we deserve it, so to say. And then there's like the times where we don't know how to make that into a business or whatever it is that you're telling yourself. But all that is a lie. You gotta, like, no excuses. That's what the book is about. It's about diminishing everything that you believe to be true about how you can't do some shit. It's just one of those books. It talks about discipline when it comes to working out, to work, leadership, business, sales, money, time management, courage, goals, responsibility, character, marriage, children, peace of mind. Man, let me tell you, I think I'm gonna reread this one too because it is really good. He also has other books as well, but that's the only one I own of his right now. Let me pull up the rest of these over here. Okay, so the next one, I actually just finished reading this one yesterday, but this is Maya Angelou's Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now. So that's that. Another very easy and small short read. I have sticky notes galore in here. Y'all can't even see them with the light, but sticky notes galore in here. I really didn't highlight too much in it because I just wanted to preserve its what word would I use? I just want to preserve the antiqueness of it. Like, it's a thrifted book, so the pages are like yellowy brown, but I love that. It's just an old ass book. I love old ass books. But Maya Angelou I call her Auntie Maya because she always comes with the gems. So this one is Maya Angelou is one of the best loved authors of our time. She shares the wisdom of a remarkable life in this best-selling spiritual classic. This is Maya Angelou talking from her heart, down to earth and real, but also inspiring. This is a book to be treasured, a book about being in all ways a woman, about living well, about the power of the word, and about the power of spirituality to move and shape your life. Passionate, lively, and lyrical, Maya Angelou's latest unforgettable work offers a gem of truth on every page, and it is full of gems. She talks about being, like it says, being a woman. She talks about just changing your life, reaping your harvest, just all kinds of things. So, easy read, get your life. Another one that I read not too long ago is Show Your Work. This one you can see, it's all bright. But Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. I hope I'm saying his last name right. This book is really good, especially for artists, creatives, and entrepreneurs, because it is specifically about, what's wrong?
Mimi won't let me go with her because she thinks that I'm being bad, but I'm not.
Okay, so can you go sit down and finish watching The Wiz while I finish? Show Your Work is really good for all creatives, all entrepreneurs, and I mean, even if you're not creative, like even if you're not creative or not an entrepreneur, even if you are working in corporate or whatever, if you're at the bottom of the totem pole, Show Your Work can help you rise to whatever position you want, right? Because in order to get there, you still have to show your work. You have to show and not so much tell. Well, you tell them at the end that this is where you need to be, but you gotta show, prove yourself. So showing your work is all about like sharing your creative process. Sharing your creative process, help taking people along the journey with you to where you're trying to go, which is another thing. Plug, my channel is going to be going into a different direction in 2018 because I want to share with you guys my journey and my work as I as I become a full-time writer in film and television, whenever that day comes. But like, I want to show you guys that more than I want to show you anything else probably. But yeah, Showing Your Work, it's like a really easy read because the chapters are like 1 or 2 pages, maybe 5 pages max per chapter. I may be wrong about that. I'm thinking sections. The chapters are more than 5 pages, but you know, it's not a very long book, and it shifts very easily, so that helps you to be able to maintain focus with the book. But it's saying, you know, to teach what you know, don't turn into human spam. Like, Lord, we hate spam. It doesn't mean don't share your work and don't sell and solicit on your pages and things, but don't turn into spam and post the same things over and over again. Have a strategy. Sell out, stick around, learn to take a punch, tell good stories. Oh my God, that is so important. You don't have to be a genius. Think process, not product. That's a major key. Share something small every day. That's another major key. Open up your cabinet of curiosities. So those are like the chapters, all 10 chapters, I think, of the book. And so, yeah, like I said, if you just want some creative inspiration, I think this one is a really good one to pick up. Back to my spiritual time. Angel Armies by Tim Sheets was really good as well. This book is again it is let me see, it is referenced. Sorry, I cannot get my thoughts out. This book is biblically referenced, if I'm saying that right. You if you don't believe in Christianity, God, Jesus, and all that, then you know you're not gonna want to read this, or you're not gonna believe most of what's in it. But at that particular time, that's where I was with my life, and this was a very good book. So, Angel Armies, Releasing the Warriors of Heaven. So this is about calling and summoning the angels in heaven to work on your behalf. So you know, it names the angels, you know, Gabriel, and I can't think of the rest of them right now, but it talks about them, and it talks about the different types of angels. It talks about colors and what they represent, what each of these angels is supposed to do. It really just breaks down the whole truth, I guess, behind the angels and what they are created or were created to do, and how to access them to work on your behalf. Like I said, so if you are praying for financial increase, you're going to do one certain thing. If you are praying for you know, health, you know, anything, it's really specific, and it tells you how to pray for those things. And I'm not gonna lie, I remember when I read it, I was like up in there clapping, and I was in my room like pacing back and forth and calling on these angels to do some work. And so it's a good book. And the next one is The New Jim Crow, which is, you saw that, but The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. So if y'all see all of these what are these sticky note things, she wasn't playing. This was study material for me. It's very, very thick, very heavy. The font is really small. This was something I was actually assigned to read this book in a class that I took in college, and I hope my professor never watched this video, but I did not read the book. But I still passed the class. And so I finally read it on my own, and it is such a good book. Like it talks, okay, the new Jim Crow. So everybody should be familiar with the Jim Crow laws during the time of segregation. And so this basic Jim Crow was basically a system, and now it's talking about the new Jim Crow. So the new Jim Crow is the system of mass incarceration, which is the subtitle of the book, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Color Blindness. So it's like, it's showing, this book is showing how not the world, but how America thrives on this colorblind, not so colorblind, but they want to make it seem like it's colorblind as a way of living. Like, people try to make it seem like they don't see color, but y'all do. These systems are deeply embedded, and shit is just like so strategically placed to try to keep the people of color, majority blacks, but people of color in a second class, not even, I don't know what class to call it, but in a second class status. And it's like, it talks about you know, the types of laws that are in place and what happens when you break these laws, second, third offenses, the war on drugs and how that shit was like planned out. It is deep. If you watch the 13th documentary done by Ava DuVernay. It was very popular. What that was last year. Gosh, time goes by fast. Very popular last year. A lot of people watched the documentary but haven't read the book. It's like they go hand in hand. The documentary is really good, but the book goes into deeper um, context of what the documentary is about. So it just talks about how basically once you are in that system, you become a slave. Just like back in the days, you're a slave to the government. Once you get into that system, they don't care about you. You're locked away and forgotten. It talks about the way that the family structure is affected by this mass incarceration. It talks about homelessness, job availability, security, rehabilitation once you are released from prison. It is so deep. Like, y'all, get this book for real. And the other one that I read, actually, let me go get it right quick. Okay, I'm back. I couldn't find the other what do you call them? The other books that I had wanted to show y'all, but I do have them on my Kindle, I believe. Okay, so the other I read two more nonfiction books, and then I read two fiction books. And I have not read any fiction books in a very long time, but I wasn't mad. So I'm gonna go with the fiction first. I read Ramik and Bella by Mercy B, which is a fellow Texan. I know it's kind of messed up. Well, it's not messed up, but the screen didn't let y'all see it too good. But Ramik and Bella was such a good story. Mercy B is from Dallas. I'm from Houston. She's also what I would consider a small black female owned business. And she does really well with her books, and she's somebody that I just salute. So I read her books and I really enjoyed them. And I read Ramik and Bella, the original one. Then I read Ramik and Bella 2. I did not move further because I think there's 4 parts to it, and then it takes on another life of its own. Like there was a spinoff with the child that they had or something like that. I didn't get that far, but I read the first 2. So Ramik and Bella, and then this one is Ramik and Bella 2 by Mercy B as well. If you are familiar with like The Coldest Winter Ever and Fly Girl and all those stories, it's something like that. But of course, it's an original story. So those are very good. Those are the only 2 fiction books I read this year. And then I also read um, The Circle Maker, which was so good by Mark. I think his name is Mark Batterson. Yes, Mark Batterson. Here it is. I'll show you guys. Okay, so this is The Circle Maker. That's what that looks like. Really good book. It's about praying in circles. So it starts off with a story, I believe. I hope I'm not wrong, but it starts off with a story about the man who, like, the land was like dry, and there was no rain, there was no food, and all that kind of stuff. Because of course, if there's no rain, your crops dry up, so forth and so on. So he got a stick and he drew a circle around him, and he stood inside the circle, and he told God he was not going to move until God moved on his behalf. And so he stood in that circle and he prayed, and I don't know how long it took, but he prayed, and then all of a sudden rain just started coming down, and fish was there, and it was enough fish to feed forever and all that kind of stuff. I'm not making it up. I don't know if I'm right though, but I think I'm right. If you've read the book, you can correct me. I'll stand to be corrected, because I read that book like maybe in January, and it's going to be January again. I just don't remember. But The Circle Maker is very good. It's about your prayer life and praying for things until you get them. Praying circles around whatever it is that you so desire. And one of the things that I took away from this book was creating, I think it was like a life goals list. And it was like, if your goals are not big enough to where you need to call on God for them, then they're not good goals. They're not big enough. So you need to call on God for these goals. So this list has to be like, it doesn't say it has to be, but it should be things that you probably don't even believe can happen, but through faith you believe it happens. So you just keep praying until it happens. You don't know how, but some kind of way it happens. And the author of the book is also a pastor, and he talks about his personal experiences with his church, with his home life, and everything else, and how it relates to him praying circles around certain things. So that's that. And then the last one I read, okay, my camera died or whatever. So, real quick, the last book that I read is Real Money Answers for Every Woman: How to Win the Money Game with or Without a Man. Now, that last part I don't care about because our focus is just not about men. But, anyways, Real Money Answers, boom. And so, if you're not familiar with Patrice Washington, she is the goat of finances, in my opinion, right now, for me, because I haven't found anybody else that I could really just be like, okay, girl. But right now, she and again Arnita Johnson. Arnita Johnson specifically focuses on credit, but Patrice actually focuses on uh, financial, like, how can I say it? Financial literacy. She focuses on financial literacy. She examines your relationships with money. She examines your patterns. She examines, debt cancellation, how to, how to repay your debt, how to get rid of debt, how to get out of debt, period. She talks about credit as well. She talks about building credit. She talks about financial advisors. She just goes over everything in this book. And like I said, if you want to specifically focus on credit repair or credit building, go with Arnita Johnson's book that I showed before. But if you want to develop better money habits, if you want to understand money and why you spend the way you spend, if you want to become better at managing your finances and stuff like that, then definitely go with Patrice's book. Or get them both, because I just feel like you don't have one self-help book that teaches you how to live the best life ever. You don't need to have one book on how to manage your finances. Like, these are the first two that I bought, and that's kind of sad, man. But it's just the way. I mean, I grew up and we didn't talk about that. Like, my mama told me to save money, but she never helped me save money. So here I am teaching myself, and I don't fault her for that. It's just something that didn't happen, and it's okay. All right, y'all. So last time my camera, I don't know what happened, but I ran out of space this time. So hopefully, we're good for me to finish this last book. So the 24th book that I'm going to tell you about, which was not the last book I read, but it's the last book of the video, whatever, is Real Money Answers for Every Woman: How to Win the Money Game with or Without a Man. Now, the subtitle she could have kept, but the book is a freaking gem. So that's what it looks like. Can y'all see that? Sucks. But anyways, y'all got my gist. I think y'all saw it good enough. But Patrice, if you haven't heard of her, she's like legit bomb.com. What I also love about her is, although she's worked with Steve Harvey and countless others, she's always appearing on his TV show, and she's written more than this one book. She has her clients. She has a podcast out now. She's super dope. But what I love about her is the fact that if you write her, she always writes back. And it's a whole bunch of people that have not obtained that level of success that she has to be out here acting funny. So how about to say, I really rock with Patrice for that. But not only that, but her book is very, very great. So I mentioned Arnita Johnson's book already, but like I said before, Arnita's book specifically focuses on credit repair, credit building, and those sorts of things. So if you want to learn how to fix your credit, go with Arnita's book. But Patrice's book, on the other hand, is more so about financial literacy than anything. So it's trying to prevent you or help prevent you from going into debt or messing up your credit, as opposed to helping you to repair it. She touches a little bit on repairing it, but the book is not about that. And she tells you that at the beginning of the book. She gave you like she read us. She was like, look, if you bought this book about just so you could just repair your credit, then you might as well stop and put it down right now, because that's not what this is about. And I was like, oh, because I ain't gonna lie, when I bought the book, that's what I was thinking about. But she definitely examines our patterns with money, our parents' patterns with money, the things that we saw growing up. She talks about habits, forming better savings and money habits. She talks about different methods to cancel out your debt. She talks about college funds, savings funds, different types of accounts. She talks about, she just gives you the game. So she's number one on my list right now, and Arnita Johnson is great too. But as far like for me, I'm that person that grew up in a household where I did not learn how to save money. Now my mom always told me to save money, but she never helped me to save money, and I've been working since I was 16. So yeah, and I'm not mad at her for that, because parents do the best that they can, and as a mother I can attest to the fact that we do the best that we can. But and there's a host of other things that I got from her that were great. That just wasn't one of them. I'm sorry. Not sorry. But if you want to become better with your money, if you want to learn financial literacy, I think that's a great book to start with. And so this year, I think I'm going to revisit that book, and I'm going to add more to it, because sad to say, those are the only two financial books that I have ever owned, or that I've ever purchased. So I am going to go back, read through that one, because the credit repair book is kind of self-explanatory. But I'm going to go back and read through Patrice's book, and I'm going to go and order some more. And although I love Black women and Black authors, I think it's important to diversify from where your information comes from, because just to be honest, I mean, what we as Black people know, or we as people of color, I'll say, know about money is totally different than what our Caucasian counterparts know about money. And me personally, I want to be well-rounded, and I want to understand their coin too, because their coin is definitely set up differently, even though they had a significant advantage. But we're just not going to even talk about that in this video. So those are all of the books that I read this year. I give myself a pat on the back for reading 24 books, because your girl has never done anything like that before, and I think I'm the shit because I did that. Yes. So instead of me trying to be over the top and read 40 books next year, because that was my goal, like a fool, with 40 books for 2018, I have resolved to read 25 books. So I'm just going to add one more to the list. Now, to be honest about that, I'm not really tripping whether I reach 25 or not, because I've proven to myself that I could do the 24. And honestly, the pace at which I was reading those books, granted, I feel like I got what I needed to get, but I feel like my mind was just focused on getting through 24 books. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that weird type A person. Like, I set a goal, I'm going to do it. But I feel like I'm going to definitely slow down a little bit this year. So if I get to 25, cool. If I don't, I don't. So I'm telling y'all, but I'm not, don't worry if I won't care or won't feel guilty if I come back to do another video like this and I didn't read 25. I'm like, okay, kiss my ass. So whatever. But I will try to read 25 books for 2018, and I'll share them with you. Now, this video is long as hell, so I don't think that I'm going to do a yearly roundup like I did this time. Maybe I will do it quarterly. So I'll show you guys the books that I read for like the first quarter, the second quarter, and then the third and fourth quarter. So if you think that would be better, let me know in the comments, because I know this shit was hella long. And if you made it to the end, thank you. But yeah, I'll probably do that. If you would like to see book reviews, I'm considering doing those on the channel, as well as, like I said before, taking my channel in a new direction. But book reviews, I think, will be super dope, as well as like film reviews and talking about TV shows, because I got deep into a couple of TV shows this year. So if you guys want to see me talk about that, because you know your girl can talk, we will have a good kiki over here about these TV shows and films and books. So if you want me to do that, definitely give this a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me what you want me to talk about, and I'm here. All right, 2018 is going down for real. So as you can tell, I got super hyped. I'm going to go ahead and sip on my hot tea and relax, edit this video, and go ahead and sign out. So you guys have a beautiful, beautiful day. If I don't see you again, if you don't hear from me again until 2018, I want to wish you a happy and prosperous new year, and I will see you guys again in the next video. Peace.